Hey, so I wanted to do a video on the Big Bang never happening. So this is not exactly what I imagined, but it doesn't. Well, maybe it's a scale. Maybe it does limit it to scale. I don't know. I don't think it really addresses it with the science or the methodology of the experiment. But my belief forever was that the Big Bang happened because I was told it happened, and because of that, like, the precursor to it was another universe that had inevitably collapsed onto itself, become a supermassive black hole, reached some sort of temporal threshold, maybe started to reverse the flow of time because the density reached a certain point, and that was like the breaking the sound barrier caused a massive boom, and that was the Big Bang, like breaking the time barrier inside a supermassive black hole. And that was my kind of made up belief system to kind of explain how the black hole happened. I'm not a scientist, but I learned enough to, assume that there was a cause, and from there I extrapolated the infinite model, expansion and contraction, right? But now they're saying there is no expansion necessarily. There's movement for sure, but space itself may not be, is not. They're saying it's not. Maybe they're waiting for absolute verification, but they're saying, their science is saying it's not. The space isn't expanding. Redshift isn't caused by expanding space. Redshift would have to be caused by resistance over distance, and that's basically it. So, like a filtering effect, but the methodology I guess they used is angular momentum. From our position, any galaxy greater and greater distance away from us should appear larger and larger. So when they look really, really far in the distance, because space is expanding, from our perspective, the space inside the universe would have expanded, and we'd see a higher percentage or a larger universe or your larger galaxy, and that's simply not the case. So the angular momentum that should be there isn't there, and because of that, the model is wrong. There was no Big Bang. That's crazy. So basically, the infinite model stands, which is no mind F for me, because, like I said, I was explaining the Big Bang by an infinite model anyway. But it does change my thinking about, the possibility of immortality, like, never ending, because, like, you would always be limited if your universe eventually collapses onto itself and is reborn when that time barrier is broken again. But if the universe itself is everlasting, then all we have to do is figure out this life thing, really, fine-tune it, and we can have everlasting life, like, without even like a trillion-year window. Not to say that everybody would want that. You'd probably want to go to sleep for long periods of time, but it would be nice to have the option. And from like a theological standpoint, it really does change things, you know, because what's nice about Christianity is the permanence. The permanence to hold on to something forever is comforting, you know, like to have an everlasting soul. It's like, it's mine, it's me, you know. And that's kind of lost in Buddhism. And you know what kind of sucks about the monotheistic religions is that they're definitely suicidal. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. It's a culture of death worship, the exportation of all goods and pleasures to heaven, which you cannot access until you are thoroughly dead and counted and buried, and then you will get your payment. You know, that's monotheism in a nutshell, and that sucks, you know. So it's kind of the everlasting universe is a great reason to dedicate our species to the exploration of space, almost at any means. Now, the idea of leaving our solar system is terrifying, and I know for a fact will never happen in my lifetime, even if we like make huge advancements in medicine. But it should be an aspiration if the Big Bang never happened. If the Big Bang never happened, humans should aspire to eventually one day leave our solar system. Because in an everlasting universe, we have that obligation, quite frankly. I think it's really kind of great news. Really, like, I prefer this over a Big Bang with a known trigger or a theoretical trigger, because this is really like, no, it's limitless. There might be no inevitable end, and if there was no provable beginning, like all this just always was, then it's theoretically quite reasonable to assume that there is no end, because it's been maintaining this balance the entire time. So it's in a steady state. That's everlasting. That's great news. So yeah, I'm excited about it because I think it will change the way my brain works. Belief systems drive behavior patterns, and I don't think it'll slow me down or make me less upset, because I'll just have that much more urgency, because, you know, there's an inevitability to there isn't. There was an inevitability to the universe, and that inevitability is the real cause of apathy. Like, if you ever ask anybody, why don't you care? It's like, it doesn't matter. This is gonna happen anyway. It's gonna happen anyway. But if the Big Bang never happened, then the end will never happen. But we could fail. That's a trip.